Hi, today I'll be walking you through my lessons called Shapes and Patterns Galore. This lesson is for kindergarten. It should take between 30 to 45 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes for designing, and then you can give them 10 to 15 minutes to color. This lesson is based off of the Arkansas Math Standards of describe the position of objects in an environment in geometric shapes in space using the correct names of shapes, correctly identifying the name of a shape regardless of what orientation they might be in, count forward by ones from any number to 100, use observations of patterns to see in plants and animals, and develop a sketch or drawing of how to illustrate a shape of an object and its function. So the big idea of this lesson is that students will explore drawing patterns using familiar shapes they've learned about, and they'll practice counting the number of times of the pattern is shown, which will help them practice that foundational skill of being able to count to 100 by the end of kindergarten. Students will also practice identifying shapes and create different patterns using those shapes. The essential question for this lesson is shapes and patterns are all around us. Where can we see tessellations around us? What patterns do we see around us every day? So connecting shapes and patterns to a real world is that for this lesson, there are shapes and patterns that we see all around us. Think about bricks on houses or shingles on rooftops and barks on trees. All of these things are shapes and patterns. So let's take a closer look at a plant. This week we've been learning about the different parts of a plant, but what if we put it under a microscope? What do we see? So with cells, they make up a plant stem or the leaves, and each of these tiny cells all look alike, and they're arranged in a pattern where some of them are in different directions, but they're all the same shape. Today, I want you to design your own pattern using the shape of your choice to create what is called a tessellation. So, first, you should have your students start by only picking one shape. One shape should be used to fill the entire page of your tessellation. Then have the students make all the shapes appear the same size, same shape, same direction. They should all look identical to each other. For your low students, you can have them cut out, draw a shape, cut it out, and then use it to trace it across the paper so that they're able to make sure that they use the correct size, shape, and direction. For your higher students, you could ask them to make a shape but use it different sizes, different directions to see if they can make a pattern fill the correct page. Here for some materials that you'll need are some manipulatives for your students to see and feel and touch, and some of them can even trace them to use from their pattern. You'll need white paper, markers or crayons, pencils, scissors if you want them to make a shape and cut them out and then trace it. Or you could spice it up and use some different colored paper to create that design. Here are some examples on what some of the outcomes might look like using triangles, squares, hexagons, multiple shapes, cubes, like not your traditional shapes, but just a pattern in general. I've also created a student page in which the student will name their tessellation. They'll say what flower cell type it will come from. They will identify the shape that they used, and they'll be able to count the number, practice counting those numbers and those patterns to then practice counting to 100. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I hope it'll be a lot of fun. It'll practice with your kids. Thanks.